All of you, good morning and Jai Hind. कैसे हैं सब? Can we have a little introduction about yourself? Just very brief. Just name and the year in which you are targeting, and maybe the optional subjects if you have finalized as of now. All of you are starting the preparation, right? Midway. Okay. So let's have a little introduction, 5 to 6 seconds per individual. Starting here. History. Okay. '27. Okay. Louder, louder. Let me tell you, you are not just supposed to prepare for prelims or just for mains or even just for the personality test. You are preparing for becoming a civil servant. So once you become a civil servant, you would be required to speak to people. There will be times when you will be required to handle a mob. With a few words of yours, the mob will decide whether to attack or whether to calm down. So the preparation also includes working on your personality. Yes, please. Louder and clear. Okay. '27. Okay. 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 Sociology. Okay. Okay. Should be, not sure. Okay. Okay. Uthappa. Yeah. Robin Uthappa. Okay. 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 Himanshu. 28. You are in the graduation right now? Final year? First year? So you will target in the third year. You will target in the third year of your graduation. Okay. Your optional? Not decided. Okay. You can come ahead. There are seats vacant here. It will be more fruitful. आज हम पढ़ाई नहीं करने वाले हैं. We are just discussing life. We will be discussing what is the mindset that we need. So don't worry. We can come ahead, please. 2027. Yes. Okay. Your name is Kaushia. Okay. 27. Not decided. Okay. 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 Yes, you. Your name, introduction, your subject, and the target year, or anything that you want to share with the class. Loud and clear. Okay. Okay. That's wonderful. Pay my regards to whosoever is in the army. Okay. Okay. Do pay my regards. Okay. That's wonderful. Okay. 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 Sociology. Sociology. Okay. Yes. Next year. Okay. We'll talk about it. Okay. Your name is? Okay, Ria. Okay. Optional not yet decided. Target year? 28. Okay. Yes. PSI. Okay. I heard 2057. Yeah, please. Okay. Okay. Anybody left? I think somebody joined here. Yes. Done? Anybody left? That side? Yes. Your name, target year, and optional if possible. Okay. Okay. Anthro? Okay. Anybody left? Yes. Okay. Okay, you have time. Yes, please. Those who have not introduced. 28. Okay. 28. Optional? Okay. Okay. Both of you? Done? Yes. Okay. Your left? Your name is? Siddharth. Okay. Okay. Everybody's done? Yes. Both of you. Okay. Okay. So for information of all of you, I will also introduce myself. My name is Abhinandan or Abhinandan Singh, or sometimes called Major Abhinandan Singh. I am a military veteran with around about a decade of service in the army, and post that, just like you, I prepared for civil services, though while being in the army, and then I cleared it twice, getting railways in 22 examination and police service in 23 examination. And my target year is 2047, where we make sure that India is where it is supposed to be, with the help of all of you. That is my target. What is the purpose of today's class? Anybody? Anybody who can tell me? What are we going to discuss? So we are just here to talk about mindset. We are here to make sure कि आज के बाद preparation को लेके you don't have any questions. We are here to make sure that from today you change your mindset about the problems that we face in life. आज के बाद problems नहीं रहेंगी. We are here to talk about the fact that when I speak to you, I am not speaking to young boys and girls, but I am speaking to potential lions and lionesses, sher or sherniya. So that is what we will talk about today. So briefly telling you about myself, I come from a place called Akhnur, which some of you might have heard. It's a small tehsil in district of Jammu in Jammu Kashmir. It's a border town. I did my schooling from there only, and then I did my BTech in electronics from Jammu again. But while I was in the college, like most of the students in college, I was not sure as to what is to be done with life. Good that you are sure now. You are young and you are here with a clear-cut goal that what you want to do in life. That is the starting point. But one thing that was sure about me, or I was sure about myself, is I want to make sure that this life is dedicated to the service of the country. That was the only thing that I was sure about, nothing else. How I am going to do about it, I was not sure. So, as a young college student, I started my NGO called Vishwas in the first year of my college. Then we started organizing events, a lot of them. I kept participating in a lot of things, a lot of events, debates, everything. Why debates? We will come to it once we discuss the essay part and the personality development part today. So in the third year of my college, accidentally a friend of mine told me that a team of army is coming to interview some candidates who they will shortlist for the SSBs. So on the same day the interviews were supposed to be happening, then I filled up the form, appeared for the interview, and somehow got selected in that. I was sent to SSB in Allahabad, 19 SSB, and as it is now a history, I got recommended from Allahabad, and it's paved the way for me to join the Indian Army. But simultaneously I was also doing a lot of other things, as I told you. I appeared for another exam called the FCAT examination, which some of you might have heard. It is for the Air Force. I cleared that. Then I was sent to SSB in Dehradun. I cleared that. So when I finished my graduation in 2014, in the month of May, June, that is when the results come. In fact, the results were not out when I joined. So 5th of July 2014 was my joining for the Air Force. 8th July was the joining for the Army. As Robert Frost says, two roads diverged by the yellow wood. English literature, somebody? Okay. So two roads diverged by the yellow wood, and I chose the one which was less traveled by. So I had the option of joining the Army, the Air Force, or none of these, running my own NGO, or preparing for civil services. So I thought about it, and because I come from a border town, because I had seen a lot of army around, that aura and the love for uniform, respect for uniform, took me to Indian Military Academy, Dehradun, as a 21-year-old boy. Now, there are a lot of lessons which we are taught in the Indian military, especially in the Indian Military Academy. I would like to share some of them with you, because as I told you, we are not here to discuss syllabus. We are not here to discuss polity, history, geography. We are here to develop the belief system and the mindset which will help you not just for civil services but for your lives ever after. So I would like you all to pay very close and very sincere attention to whatever we are talking about today, because if you implement these things in your life, you will definitely go on to create a legacy of yours. And that is what I believe the youth of this country is supposed to be doing, and that is what the youth of the country should be doing. So the first lesson that the Indian Military Academy taught me is about limits. कितने लोगों को लगता है कि हर इंसान की कोई ना कोई लिमिट है? Some people say कि सर ये मेरे बस की बात नहीं है, बहुत मुश्किल है, यूपीएससी की बात करते हैं, बहुत मुश्किल है. So the first thing that the military taught us was to crush the idea of limit. जब ट्रेनिंग अकेडमी हम शुरू करते हैं ट्रेनिंग वहां पे, तो it is just like यहाँ पे the boys and girls who are sitting, just like them. Most of you might not have run even 1 kilometers or 2 kilometers ever, surely. So as 20-21-year-old young boys, we go there as complete novice. We do not know how to do push-ups, though I did it because I was into sports all my life. But there are a lot of students जो 1 kilometer भी भाग नहीं सकते, who cannot even do 5 push-ups. But you will be amazed that by the time we end our training 1 year later, everybody, when I say everybody, it means everybody, despite the injuries, despite all limitations that they had once they joined the academy, everybody is able to run a distance of 70 plus kilometers with a battle load of 25 kgs, with their own personal weapon, sometimes rocket launchers, and sometimes even their injured course mates, for 70 plus kilometers. So the first lesson that I was taught and I'm sharing with you today: break all mental barriers and all mental limits that you think you are having. Swami Vivekananda says that weakness is a sin. Weakness is a crime, and particularly it is a crime for the young people of India. इसलिए मैं चाहूंगा कि आज के बाद it is not about civil services here. It is about a much larger picture that we need to prepare ourselves for. Civil services is one of the easiest platforms to go there and create that impact. All of us are from middle class families, some of us from rural areas, like me, like you. How we can contribute? We do not have a political background. Many of us do not have a sound economic background. So how do we enter that position where we are able to make sure that everything is good and plus we are contributing to the society? If you want to start a business, it will take you 20 years to build that much. If you want to, let's say, enter politics, either you need some financial backing or some political links, or let's say 20 years of work or 10 years of work. But here is a platform which, with 2 to 3 years of consistent, honest hard work, will land you right there. So आज के बाद ये नहीं बोलना है कि civil services is the toughest examination. Civil service is the easiest platform where you get to reach where you are supposed to be. Change the mindset about difficulty. How many of you think कि आपका competition 10 लाख लोगों के साथ है जो हर साल एग्जाम दे रहे हैं? You think about competitions? Before we enter civil services, हम यही सोचते हैं कि बहुत competition है. सब सोचते हैं, everybody? Louder, yes? नींद तो नहीं आ रही किसी को? आएगी तो बता देना, मिलिट्री स्टाइल में हटा देंगे उसको, ठीक है? So, if you think कि आपका competition उन 10 लाख लोगों से है, आज के बाद I want all of you to leave that thought process. आपका competition हमेशा, not just for civil services, in life, your competition will only be with one individual, and that is you. And let me tell you with full conviction and full confidence, अगर आप उस एक इंसान को रोज repeatedly हराने में कामयाब हो जाते हैं, then nobody else can beat you ever. The most difficult work ever in the history of the world was to control and win over oneself. हमारा indiscipline. If we can control our mind, if we can control our actions, and if we can beat ourselves every day. जब मैं बात करता हूं beat ourselves every day, what does it mean? It means आज what is the date today? So 30th September को आज जो हम हैं, 14th September को we are better than that. 15th को we are better than 14th. 16th we are better than 15th. So every day we are adding something to our personality and getting better. Just imagine what will happen in 1 year, what will happen in 5 years, and what will happen in 10 years. How many of you understand what demographic dividend means? पढ़ा होगा आपने, demographic dividend सुना होगा. What is that? One at a time. Now, some of you who joined late, let me tell you one thing. We had already discussed about it. Once you talk about civil services, आपको सिर्फ प्रीलिम्स क्लियर नहीं करना है, सिर्फ मेंस क्लियर नहीं करना है, इंटरव्यू भी क्लियर करना है. और इंटरव्यू क्लियर करने के बाद जब आपका सिलेक्शन होगा, यू आर सपोज टू सर्व द पब्लिक, इंटरैक्ट विद पब्लिक. पब्लिक फोरम्स में आपको बोलने की जरूरत पड़ेगी. सो स्टार्ट वर्किंग ऑन योर पर्सनालिटी, नॉट जस्ट फॉर द इंटरव्यू, so that you become a good officer. So coming back, what is demographic dividend? Now, idea is that only. Demographic dividend एक देश की ग्रोथ में वो फेज है जब जो वर्किंग पॉपुलेशन है, दैट इज 15 to 59 years, उनका पॉपुलेशन इज द मोस्ट. एंड it is very, very promising for us कि we are already in the demographic dividend. It is not कि आने वाला है, we have already entered that phase. जब हमारा जो young population है, that is more than 50-60%. But the point is, it is a time sensitive window. Demographic dividend हमेशा नहीं रहता है, क्योंकि आज जो युवा है, all of you, me combined, 30 years from now, 40 years from now, we will be old. And studies also say कि ये जो demographic dividend का window है, it will last around, let's say 2050, 2055 तक. So we have next 30 years to define the course of our country, not just ourselves. If we start getting focused on our country and do our best for that, automatically अपना जो जीवन है, that will be sorted. It will be at a certain position where we are there. लेकिन एक तरफ जब ये promising है, on the other side it is also a little dangerous thing. Dangerous because if we are not able to capitalize on the demographic dividend, it will end up into a demographic disaster. तो इसका clear meaning ये है कि what all of us do for next 25-30 years is going to decide where India goes in 2047, 2050 and beyond. So the responsibility for taking India to where we want to take it is on our shoulders. When I say our, it is me included, you included, and everybody out there, especially the young people. Gone is the time जब मैं बोलूंगा कि you are the future of the country. You are not. You are already there now. Within the next 2 to 3 years, if you work hard, you will be on the ground working and serving the country. So, think about it that way. Now, I spoke about the limits. Number 2, my question to all of you, how many of you think कि आपके जीवन में there are problems in life? How many of you? No problems? सबके जीवन में है? Now once you raise your hand, as I told you, the mark of a good personality is not just about the way you dress. The first thing is about how you think. Number 1. अगर आपके thoughts खराब है या thoughts की direction खराब है, then you need to work on it. Number 2 also includes, when we talk especially about the public service and also the interview, it is about your communication skills. It is also about your body language. Now when somebody is asking a question and you are raising your hand, There are multiple ways of raising your hand. You can do it like this, you can do it like this, or very confidently you can do it like this also. So if you want to start working on your body language, because you will have at least a year of classes, right? Most of you. So use this platform to develop that personality. Stand up and ask questions. Go home and read loudly for 15 to 20 minutes every day. क्लास में सवाल पूछते हो तो very confidently raise your hand. Don't be in hesitation. पूछना है कि नहीं पूछना है. Okay? So how many of you are having problems in life? All of you? How many are not having any problems in life? Why is there a hesitation? अगर problem है तो है, नहीं है तो नहीं है. Now I want all of you to think about problems in a little different way. मेरा मानना है कि लाइफ में प्रॉब्लम्स नहीं होती. There are no problems in life. In life we have situations. Situations which want us to do something about it. Situations which want us to respond in a specific way. Lekin once we do not respond in a specific way or in a specific time frame, that situation worsens and becomes a problem. मेरे को भूख लगी है अभी, मैं नहीं खाऊंगा, 2 दिन नहीं खाऊंगा, 3 दिन नहीं खाऊंगा, then I'll fall sick. Even then if I don't do, I will end up in a hospital. And even then I refuse to eat, I'll end up wiped out from the face of earth. So आज के बाद मैं चाहूंगा कि don't think about things as problems, think about them as situations which want you to do something about it. अभी आप सोच के देखिएगा, जो भी आपको मैंने जब सवाल किया you have problems, whatever was there in your mind as a problem, don't you think that it is a situation जो आपसे कह रही है कि do something about it, or is it something कि उसका कुछ किया ही नहीं जा सकता? पहली चीज है, अगर किया जा सकता है do it and solve it. अगर नहीं किया जा सकता है, is it none of your business? Because if there is something you cannot do anything about it, if I start thinking कि कल कुछ भी होके मुझे सूरज को उगने नहीं देना है, I will not let the sun rise. Can I do that? What will happen? I will feel frustrated in the morning when I see the sun, or I'll close my doors and windows so that the sunlight is not coming in, so that I'll live in a false illusion. So from today, I want all of you to have a different perspective about life, especially about challenges. Now let's take it for a moment that you will call it a problem. Are problems good for us or are problems bad for us? How good? Anybody who feels they are bad for us? If you feel it, frankly say it. Don't worry, because your participation is what will add value to the class. Anybody who feels the problems are bad? Why is it good? It develops resilience. Yes. Anybody else? What is the difference between diamond and a graphite? The only difference, despite both of them being allotropes of carbon, why they end up in totally different state is the amount of temperature and pressure which the atoms of carbon withstand to become diamond. So today, if anybody of you or all of you are facing problems in life, what do you want to say to God? Thank you, God. Thank you, God, because you have put me under that process where I will churn, where I will chisel myself and become a diamond. अगर सूरज बनना है तो सूरज की तरह जलना पड़ेगा. तो आज वो प्रोसेस शुरू होता है कि हम सब जलेंगे. We will face anything that comes, but with the aim to make sure that we take our country to where it should be. So I want all of you to start thinking like diamonds. Start thinking like leaders. What is the mark of a leader? What is the most important mark of a leader? Anybody? He leads the way, but how? Setting an example. He is a problem solver. Most importantly, जब आपको कुछ समझ नहीं आएगा, योर बॉस, नॉट द बॉस, बॉस इज नॉट द राइट वर्ड, देयर इज अ डिफरेंस बिटवीन बॉस एंड लीडर. A leader will solve your problem leading from the front. So I want all of you to start thinking and imbibing the characteristics of a leader. There are people जो क्या करेंगे, out of nowhere they will find out problems, but there are people who despite all the problems will find out solutions. Choice is yours कि आप problems ढूंढना चाहते हैं या फिर solutions ढूंढना चाहते हैं. If you want to become a good leader, number one attribute that all of you want to develop and should develop is never look at problems or anything as situations. Sorry, as problems, just look at them as situations. Especially there are situations jab we have the involvement of our emotions, especially when we have our loved ones involved. Somebody is sick, somebody is on the verge of deathbed, or any complex situations where emotions are involved. How do you come out of that? Anybody? When we are emotionally vulnerable, how to deal with that? Because that is one of the questions that I often get when I speak to students. How do we come out of that? Have you heard about the concept of a detached perspective? What is that? Now, whenever you are facing anything, any emotional vulnerability, आपको दो चीजें करनी है. नंबर वन, थिंक ऑफ इट कि आपके किसी दोस्त को सिमिलर चीज हो रही है. He or she is facing a similar problem. And number two, detach yourself from that in a way that imagine you are standing on the top of a building, a 100-story building, or let's say you are standing in space and looking at the situation from the space, from that far a distance. क्या दिखेगा आपको? If you are in space, आपको अपना जो सिटी है वो कैसा दिखेगा? आपका देश कैसा दिखेगा? छोटा. सिटी कैसा दिखेगा? और छोटा. आपका घर कैसा दिखेगा? और छोटा. आपकी फैमिली कैसे दिखेगी? और छोटी. आप कैसे दिखोगे? और छोटे. और आपकी प्रॉब्लम दिखेगी. तो डिटैच योरसेल्फ फ्रॉम दैट. एंड द फर्स्ट थिंग दैट आई टोल्ड यू, इमेजिन कि आपके किसी दोस्त को सिमिलर सिचुएशन है, आप उसको क्या एडवाइस दोगे? द एडवाइस दैट यू वुड गिव टू हिम और हर इज व्हाट यू आर रिक्वायर्ड टू डू. तो आज के बाद डोंट गेट ओवरवेल्म्ड विद प्रॉब्लम्स. डोंट वरी अबाउट एनीथिंग दैट इज हैपनिंग. इट इज जस्ट हैपनिंग. इट विल हैपन. रोड पे जाओगे, गाड़ी ने एक्सीडेंट करना है तो वो होगा ही. You cannot do anything about it. What you can do, be careful and respond to it. Be ready to respond always. So number one, we learned about limits. Number two, about the value of problems. About being grateful to God about the fact that He has given you problems. क्योंकि problems नहीं होंगी तो हम वो बन नहीं पाएंगे जो हमें बनना है. Number three and the most important lesson जो हमें मिलिट्री एकेडमी में सिखाया गया, it is what is known as the Chetwood credo. Anybody heard it before? So Chetwood was a British army officer, British time पे, तो उनके नाम पे it is there. We have a Chetwood building there, जहाँ पे ड्रिल होती है, जहाँ पे फाइनल पासिंग आउट परेड होती है. It is called the Chetwood Square. Now it says that the safety, honor and welfare of your country comes first, always and every time. तो कल को जब आप सिविल सर्विस में जाएंगे या किसी भी फील्ड में जाएंगे, this Chetwood credo should be your guiding light. It first says the safety, honor and welfare of your country comes first, always and every time. Just वैसे ही जैसे कैनेडी ने कहा, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. कई बार हम देखते हैं कि सरकारों ने हमें कुछ नहीं दिया, सरकार वैसे भी देती नहीं है. आप जाइए सरकार में, फिर लोगों को दीजिए. आस्क ऑलवेज कि आप अपने देश के लिए कैसे पॉजिटिवली कंट्रीब्यूट कर सकते हैं. दैट इज द फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन. नेवर आस्क दैट आई हैव नेवर गॉट एनीथिंग फ्रॉम द कंट्री. इट्स ओके इफ द सिस्टम्स आर बैड, इट इज बिकॉज वी हैव लेट देम बी. कितने लोगों को लगता है कि सिस्टम्स जो हैं हमारे कंट्री में, दे आर गुड, एब्सोल्युटली गुड? कितने लोगों को लगता है बहुत सारी चीजें गलत हैं? लगता है, सबको लगता है। तो अगर लगता है तो उसका सोल्यूशन क्या है? यू आर द सोल्यूशन। वी कैन नॉट लुक एट अदर्स, क्योंकि उनको ठीक करना होता तो कर ही देते अभी तक, बहुत साल हो गए, 1947 टिल 2025, इट्स बीन अ लॉन्ग जर्नी। तो अभी तक नहीं ठीक हुआ, कहीं ना कहीं अब पीछे जाके तो हम कुछ नहीं कर सकते, वी वर नॉट देयर, आगे जाके भी कुछ नहीं होगा। राइट नाउ इज द टाइम टू अंडरस्टैंड, फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल वो रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी अंडरस्टैंड करनी है, नेक्स्ट इज टू डू समथिंग अबाउट इट, टेक दैट रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी। Chetwood Credo further says, the safety, honor and welfare of the men you command comes next. जब आपने इंश्योर कर लिया है कि देश की हिफाजत और देश के लिए जो काम करना था वो कर दिया है, उसके बाद ये आपकी जिम्मेदारी है, नैतिक जिम्मेदारी है, यू आर थिंकिंग अबाउट द मेन हु आर वर्किंग अंडर यू, योर जूनियर्स, योर सबॉर्डिनेट्स। जब आपने वो भी कर दिया, देन द फाइनल फ्रेज ऑफ दिस क्रेडो इज योर ओन ईज, your own comfort and your own welfare will come last, always and every time. Nation first, the men you command next, and you always at the last. तो अपने बारे में सबसे लास्ट में सोचना है। Now how can you use this Chetwood Credo in your preparation? Anybody? कैसे यूज कर सकते हैं आप इसको? पॉजिटिवली, कंस्ट्रक्टिवली? सबसे बड़ी प्रॉब्लम क्या आती है पढ़ाई में? डिस्ट्रैक्शंस एंड लाउडर इनकंसिस्टेंसी। 10 दिन पूरी, आज मोटिवेट हो जाएंगे सब, 10 दिन में पूरा सिलेबस खत्म हो जाएगा, 11वें दिन फिर आएगा हमारा रियल नेचर बैक। फिर आप कहेंगे अब मन नहीं कर रहा है, राइट? यू आर नॉट फीलिंग लाइक स्टडिंग। Everybody is also comfortable with Hindi? Anybody who is not? You're not comfortable with Hindi? Okay, we'll try to be maximum should be in English only. So after 10 days, when the real you or real me hits, then what happens? We start feeling like not studying. We feel like we should be doing something else. We feel that the motivation is missing. Whenever that happens, remind yourself that you are not preparing for civil services for your own sake. You are doing it for your country. And today if I am lazy, my country is going to be lazy. If I am faltering in my preparation, my country is faltering. If you actually are able to understand this and include this in your thought process, you will never have to worry about consistency. Because the moment you start getting inconsistent, just introspect a little bit and speak to yourself that somewhere I am failing my country. Because I believe if people with, because there are limited number of seats, right? Close to 1,000 every year. If people who have the, if you, first of all, you have to believe that you are the right person to be there on the job. When I say right person, it means you have the passion to serve the country, to change the way things function. That is the number one. Now, if you think that you are the right person to be there, if you do not do it, somebody who is not right for that job will be there because he worked hard. Maybe his motivation was something else. His motivation may be his personal interests or the power or the prestige. But you who wanted to serve the country in the right way did not work hard enough. So you did injustice to the country by not working hard enough. How many of you have that fire that come what may, I will make sure that this country is good? Why the hesitation? Hands down. Why this hesitation? Some of you were hesitant. Why? It is our duty to do that. Yesterday I was having a session somewhere in Uttar Pradesh in Sultanpur, Amethi. So there somebody asked me a question that said there are young boys and girls who are standing on the borders. It was not even a question, it was just a feeling he was sharing. He was saying that, sir, there are young boys and girls who are standing at the border, guarding our freedom. And I feel that the country has forgotten them. Country thinks of them when the operations take place, when the war is there. Op Sindoor was there, everybody was saying that army, 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 air force, navy. And then once it was over, everything is back to normal. So he was a little concerned that why is it that we only remember people or the soldiers once we feel the wrath, once we feel the fire, once we see the enemy knocking on our doors. So we have to remember one thing, that this freedom has come at a certain cost. And that cost has been a smiling 21-year-old young boy or a young girl who laid down his life just to make sure that Tiranga niche nahi aana chahiye. Can we not just do this much, that we make sure that in whatever departments we are working with an efficiency, with an ethical background and with passion which is unmatchable. That is all that is required. In the same session, somebody asked me, sir, why is it that corruption is not getting over? And he was also saying that, sir, I feel that corruption will never go away. Why it will never go away? Because as long as all of us, or even one of us, keeps getting involved in that. Let's say today, whatever is the number here, 50, 60, 70. If all 70 of us decide that whatever happens, wherever we are in the service, we will make sure that we are not a part of that process. The change has to start with individuals. Change cannot happen on a mass level. What is happening in Nepal? You've been following news? What's happening there? What are they doing? Burning in the parliament. Okay, that is not the only thing that they are doing. Yeah. Now, the Nepal incident is a grave reminder for us. Now, here we have to be very careful because we are the young people in our country. Now, here we have to learn the right lessons. On one side, there are positive lessons we can derive from what happened in Nepal. On the other, there are negatives also. The negative ones is, whatever happens, that violence is never going to be an answer for the problems that we have. So, first we will make sure that we do not take the negatives. Don't let anybody tell you that we should storm the parliament. No. But on the positive side, it shows us the power that the youth of a country hold. Nepal एक छोटा सा देश है. We have 100 times more population. So, just imagine the amount of positive impact we can create if all that young population comes together in whatever field of life, and they are contributing very, very productively, efficiently and ethically. Such is the power that you hold. When I talk about youth, starting I told you, all of you are lions and lionesses. You have to realize and understand that. Once you start believing that, start thinking like a lion, what does that lion do? Lion never gets distracted. Lion never compares with elephants, rhinos or even the jackals. Lion just lives on its own principles. And when it decides, it will rest, and when it decides that it is the time to hunt, it will not return without hunting. So all of you are potential lions and lionesses, not yet, in the process. Whether you go on to become the lions and lionesses the country needs, or you go on to become sheeps, is up to you. But I will try my best to make sure that we migrate from our present position to the lions and lionesses. It is my duty, it is your duty to make sure that we develop into that kind of citizens who have spine. Today the biggest problem is where the backbone should have been, people have grown their wishbone. हमारी ज़रूरतें, हमारी requirement for money has overtaken our sense of duty. Not even requirement would not be a right word to say. Our lust for money, lust for power, lust for more, that has overtaken the spirit of real nationalism. So all of you, I want all of you to think today and start that process of change. First, let us change ourselves. Let us start feeling that power and the responsibility and the potential that we have. Once we understand that, then slowly and gradually we will include more people in this. Today we are 70. All 70 of you train another 70 and tell them that train another 70. Within next 5 years, we will have more than 1 crore students, 1 crore young people who will dedicate and sacrifice everything for the sake of the country. That is all that I want you to focus on. Once you think about the larger picture, then you realize the power that you have, and then you think civil services. Civil services. Go to the moon and see. Civil services is not tough. Surviving on a polluted planet is, and you are doing it. Surviving in Delhi is, we are doing it. So we are doing tougher jobs. So civil services is not going to be tough if you develop that mental attitude. Now I should not be asking this question because all of you are already decided on the fact that you want to prepare for civil service, right? All of you are preparing? That's why you are here. How many of you are 100% sure that you will become a civil servant? How many of you? How many of you are thinking about plan B? So this is the starting point of our preparation. Indian military academy ke lessons we leave behind now. Now we focus on the lessons that are required for life in general and especially for civil services. The starting point of anything in life is an unshakable, unwavering belief system. एक विश्वास कि come what may, I will manage it somehow. I will do it come what may. So today, because the belief system is not going to come in one day, because if in the last 20 years, most of you are on 20, if in the last 20 odd years, you have lived a specific life where at times you have been very disciplined, but at times or most of the times you have been indisciplined. Most of the times you have not been achieving results which you wanted to. So that mind and the brain cells have to be rewired. How do you do that? Is it possible? Can we train our brain cells? How? It's a very simple process. In life there is nothing which is complex. So we will understand that process now. How to make your belief system unshakable. Do you understand the power of reinforcement? Have you seen a rope on a well? How many of you have actually seen a well? And how many of you use that rope to pull water out of the well with a bucket? Now, a simple rope, hands down please. A simple rope. Is a rope strong as compared to a rock? No. But repeated movement and repeated efforts of a rope cast an impression और वहां पे depression create हो जाता है on the rock. That is the power of reinforcement. Doing it every day, repeatedly, every hour, every day, every month, every week, every year. You are repeating that. Now let's start with very simple process. How do we rewire? How do we bluff our mind to believe that you are a champion? And then you become a champion. There's a poem called You Are a Lion Who's Born to Roar. Anybody heard of it? Who? Heard of it? You are a lion who's born to roar? Where have you heard it? Sorry? Sanju movie? I don't know. Anybody else? You have heard? You are a lion who's born to roar. I am not sure because I have written this poem. I'll tell you the poem towards the end of it. Now, on a daily basis, how do we trick our mind into believing that I am the brain of somebody who is a champion. Let's say on a daily basis you set some targets. Now the time is 12:30. Now let's say that you set a target from 12:30 till 1 o'clock you are going to study. And you do that. Again you decide a target for the evening and you do that. So evening the brain will think that today whatever the targets that I had, this individual has achieved. That's okay. That's just one day. You repeat that tomorrow. You repeat that for a complete week. You start increasing those targets also from half an hour to 1 hour to 2 hours, go on to 8 hours and 10 hours. Now just imagine that if you are winning every day. Winning does not look like that you will clear civil services in one go. Winning is made up of small victories. And what are those small victories? Today I have a target of 4 hours, I do that. I do 4 hours and 10 minutes to give that sense of pride that I have exceeded my targets. Tomorrow I set up a target for 5, I achieve 5. Again I repeat 5 every day. After 1 week I make it 6. I do that every day. So the brain is looking at you. The brain cells are looking at you. Here is an individual who is setting daily targets and achieving them every day. Means you are winning every day. You are winning every hour. Every night you are sleeping as a victorious person. Every morning you are getting up as somebody who has won. So if you want to win in life, what is that made up of? Life is made up of years. Years are made up of months. Months are made up of weeks, and weeks are made up of days. Days of hours. So if you are winning every minute, if you are winning every hour, if you are winning every week, every month, every year, then how is it possible that you will fail in life? Victories will only add up to give you a bigger victory. Victories cannot add up to a failure. And in fact, there is nothing called failure. Until and unless we have breath in our lungs, there is no thing called failure. So just by doing little things every day, ensuring that you are winning every day, automatically the brain cells, your entire body, the cells of your body, your muscles, they start believing in you that here is an individual who thinks, who talks the way, but also walks the way, who plans and then he delivers. Every day he is doing it. For example, if let's say you want to run a 42-kilometer distance next year, so you start running. Today maybe only 1 kilometer, not more than that, but you run every day. After 1 week you are running 1.5. After 1 month you are running 3. 2 months you are running 5. 6 months you are running 15. 9 months you are running 20. And 12 months you are running 42. It is not going to be that way that you run 42 kilometers on day 1. Is it going to happen? It cannot happen. Now students majorly ask me a question, sir, I am not able to revise, I am not able to recall, I am not able to have, I don't know, yesterday somebody was asking about active recalling, I am not able to recall actively. These terms are just terms. The process is very simple. Clearing UPSC is like that you will be required to run 42 kilometers on the day of the UPSC exam. You may not have, I will give you an example. When we are in the training, in academy, we are supposed to pass various tests. Okay, various tests, which include some on the ground, some in the athletics field, some in the weapon training. And there is also a test called swimming test, normal. And there, in the first term, you are supposed to, let's say 25 meters, and in the second, 50 meters. So there is a huge stretch of there is a swimming pool in Dehradun, 50 meters, and you will only pass once you swim the stretch of 50 meters. Now I was a dead swimmer because I never swam before I joined the academy. I didn't know how to swim. And How many of you watched that Laksh movie? Laksh, not seen? Those who have not seen must see that. That is one of the most inspiring movies ever made in India, and that has motivated an entire generation to join the armed forces. So, जिन्होंने नहीं देखी है, kindly see that. तो वहां पे you must have seen a part of the movie where we are required to jump from a 10-meter height. So that looks rather easy as long as you are not on the top. So it is like a staircase. You keep climbing, keep climbing. So like for example, all of us are here, we will make a line, then all of us will start marching. One after the other, one after the other. So everything is normal until you reach the final staircase. Because until now you had somebody ahead of you. Now here the staircase ends and then you climb up the last few 4 to 5 stairs, and after that there is only a plank like this. For example, this is the plank, and here I am standing. Far in the distance I can see the mountains of Mussoorie. Below I can see thousands of cadets who are cheering for you, and your heart which is pumping. Now here if you stop even for 2 seconds, you will not be able to jump. Because what happens? They tell us to do it like this. First one leg, and then you surrender to the gravity. But many, not many, but few students or few cadets are not able to jump. It is about that instant moment when once you are required to take that decision. On decisions we'll come again. Now I was talking about swimming. Now I was never able to do it before because I never got the opportunity. Now in the first term, 25 meters is not a big deal. 25 meters, if some of you who know, even if you are a dead swimmer or if you know a little bit of swimming, you can do 25 meters. Because with the push of the wall, you can go 15, 20, and then last 4, 5 you can do it easily. But now 50 meters is not possible that way. So I failed in my first attempt in, there are different attempts like M1 we call it for the first time, then after a couple of months M2, M3 like that. So M1 I failed. I almost drowned. They don't let you drown because there are people who will take you out. Now we have something called a midterm in the, like it's a mid semester where we have a break of 1 week. And in that 1 week I was, most of the people are taken to some places on a visit, forward areas, somebody will be taken to Uttarakhand, Jammu, Northeast somewhere. So, but those of us who have failed some kind of test, they will be held back in the academy. So I was held back for swimming. So until then I was trying to learn freestyle. And now I heard what is called the breaststroke. So that is, if you learn that, it is very comfortable. You can run, you can swim for kilometers there. But you will be amazed, I learned that in 1 day. Morning, my instructor taught me one movement, and evening I swam for the first time confidently. But I swam just 15-20 meters. I swam my first 50 meters on the day of the test, not before that. So why I am telling you this is, जो बच्चों का सवाल है कि सर याद नहीं हो रहा है, I am not able to recall, I am not able to write the best possible answer. So sometimes your best, आपको best देने का requirement कब है? You are required to give your best on the day of the examination, not before that. Before that, everything is a part of the practice. For those of you who follow cricket, everything is a part of net practice. Whatever mistakes you are doing in practice games, whatever mistakes you are doing in nets, that are important because that is what will help you in the final game. Once you play the World Cup and represent the country, your performance on that day matters. Everything else was a preparation to this day. So today if you are not able to recall something, if you are having some problems recalling something, don't worry. It is all a part of the process. Let's say first revision, first time when you study, you recall only 5%. But that 5% is not 0. You repeat second time, it becomes 15. You repeat third time, it becomes 30. Keep repeating by 10. Once you revise it 10 times, it is close to 70-80%. 100%, nobody will be able to do that. But you will be very close to that, and that is the requirement of this examination. Break it into small targets, achieve those targets on a very small level every day, and that will start making you believe that you can do it. And belief system is the only thing that can create wonders. If you start this process with a doubt that the competition is too much or I may not be able to do it, then somewhere or the other you will not do it. You create the life you think and you create the life you work for. Now, I'll give you a very live example of this. I have a friend who I met here only in Delhi last year. Now, he is a graduate from IIT Kharagpur. He is right now in the railway service. So, we were having a discussion one evening over a cup of tea. So, he told that, sir, I failed in the UPSC prelims 3 times. But what he told me next is what is the most important thing. He told the sir, despite failing in 3 times, I was absolutely certain that I will make it somehow. Here is an individual having failed 3 times, not even cleared the prelims. He is having a belief system that come what may, I will do it. And in the 4th attempt, he did it. He is right now in the railways. I think he has written mains again this year. So such is the power of belief system. Now, if you have a belief system which gets shaken by one setback, for example, if you do not clear prelims 1 time and you start feeling that pressure, don't do that. It's all a part of the process. Maybe there were some mistakes in the first attempt which we are able to identify and rectify, and then we move on. Who is rank 1 this year? This year's results? Attempt number 5 or 6, I think. It was the last attempt or 5th attempt. 4 attempts she is not qualified, and she ends up number 1. Had she left or had she given up, thinking that I am not good enough for 42 kilometers? It is all a part of the process. Heard of the name of Eliud Kipchoge? Anybody? Anybody into athletics? He is a Kenyan marathon runner. What is the distance of a marathon which we are required to run? It is 42 point some kilometers, 42.1 kilometers. And how much time would you take if I tell you to run 42 kilometers? Just take a wild guess based on your capabilities. 6 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours, which means round about 7 hours per kilometer, 7 kilometers per hour, right? Here is an individual, and in fact the scientific world, the people who do research on microbiology, on human body, on anatomy, they were of the view that the first human being to run a distance of a marathon, which is 42.1 kilometers, in less than 2 hours, seeing the evolution in the times, would not come before 2075. Running 42 kilometers under less than 2 hours will not happen before 2075. That is what the research had proven. But here is this guy called Eliud Kipchoge from Kenya, from the rural lands of Kenya, having understood the power of discipline. He says that don't be slave to your passions. Passions make you weak. The only thing that can lead you to success is discipline. And this individual trained every day, and as a 39-year-old, he became the first human being on the face of the planet to run 42 kilometers in 1 hour, 59 minutes and some 47 seconds. Almost 21 kilometers an hour. We were talking about 7. That is 3 times that capacity. It tells us that anything and everything is possible if we club this belief system with a ruthless discipline. So the second lesson after having the belief system is what we call discipline. But before coming to discipline, there is another thing that I want you to learn, which all great leaders and anybody who wants to be successful in life need to have, and that is the power of decision making. This is applicable to all of us. But since you have made the decision that you want to appear for civil services, the number one thing is, the step number one is done. All of you are sure that you want to be here? So, all of you have taken a decision. And decision is something that is the starting point of any journey. Unless I decide that I want to go this way, I will never go. Unless I decide that I want to wake up in the morning, I will not wake up. I have to make a decision. Unless I decide that I want to cook, it will not happen. So the first thing is right, that all of you have decided that you want to prepare for civil services. But then comes the number 2 lesson, or number 3 after the belief system. Number 1 was the belief system. Number 2 is decision making. Number 3 is what I call look back and you are dead. Now you have taken this decision because you want to be here. Anybody जिसको घर वालों ने मार पीट के भेजा यहाँ पे, under the pressure of society, under the pressure of family, anybody? Even if anybody is here, understand that situations may have forced you to be here, but now to be here is your decision. You cannot not own your decisions. निर्णय लेना है, then you have to own those decisions. Only then you will be able to make them good decisions. And now there is no looking back. Because if you look back, it's done. You cannot expect a soldier to be standing on the borders facing the enemy to think about what's happening back home. Because if that happens, the enemy will come and kill you and take your country or a piece of land away. Likewise, you have decided to be here and prepare for civil services. Be ruthless that I will do whatever it takes to make my decision right. I will not turn back. Now you have taken a decision. Now you know that you cannot go back. The number 3 thing is what we earlier discussed, called discipline. How would you define discipline? Anyone? Sorry, come again. Dedicated towards goal. Yes. Yes. When there is no motivation, then you are still doing it. Anybody else? Doing whatever you decide. Somebody there? Consistency. Yes. So, just remember this basic definition of discipline. Discipline is doing a thing when it is required to be done, especially when you don't feel like doing it. So from today, if you want to call yourself disciplined, you have to understand 2 things. Discipline is time sensitive, and discipline will force you to do a thing, especially when you don't feel like doing it. For example, you are hungry now. You have to eat now. You cannot say that I'll eat 10 days later. You may not survive that much. So discipline is time sensitive. If you have to prepare for civil services, it's time sensitive. You have 6 attempts or until the cutoff age. You cannot prepare after you cross the cutoff. You can, but you will not be able to appear. So number 1 thing is, you have to do a thing once time is right for that. So that thing is there for all of you and you have started. That's a good thing. Now second thing, and we are asked this question, sir, we are not able to stay consistent. Consistency does not come from motivation. Motivation, today I motivate you and for next 3 days you will be a Bhagat Singh. And the 4th day, you will come back to the 21st century and pick up the Instagram reels. So where motivation ends, there discipline starts. Especially, as the second part of the definition says, especially when you don't feel like doing it. For example, you have set yourself a target of 8 hours for today or for any day, and it is already, let's say, 12 o'clock at night, and you generally sleep at 12, or let's say you are not well, it is 10 o'clock, you are not well, or let's say there is a party outside where your friends are calling you, so you don't feel like studying now, especially when the condition is that you don't feel like studying. It is then, if you do it, it is called discipline, because you understand that it is required to be done. If I do not do it, that same, coming back to the belief system, you are wiring your brain that it is okay sometimes to not achieve your targets. You train your mind every day without realizing it. You are training, all of you, in a specific way. That can be good, that can be bad, that's up to you, but we are doing it by sleeping in time and getting up in time, and every day we are training our mind and body that this is the pattern, it is okay to be this way. By being disciplined, we are training our mind to be disciplined. And let me tell you, there is a famous saying which says that in life we either undergo the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. So right now is the time for discipline. If you do not stay disciplined today, tomorrow there will be regret. Some of you will go to become civil servants, and if somebody doesn't make it and tomorrow you meet somebody is a civil servant and you are not, and you wanted to be that badly, so you will start feeling that, and you cannot do anything about it then, because the first part of the discipline was this time. Once the limits are done, the attempts are done, the age is over, you cannot become a civil servant, at least not in the UPSC. State, yes, there are attempts, but if you want to do anything, understand the power of discipline. Discipline will help you at places where nothing else can. So I am not here to make you motivated. I am here to develop that mindset into a ruthless disciplinarian who will do the things at the time it is required to be done every day repeatedly. And once we do it repeatedly every day, just imagine how, if we are talking about one human body doing it, and how he is taking charge of his senses, his mind, his brain cells. Now imagine that if we have the entire population of the country thinking that way, where it will take our country. I believe that the power and the revolution will not come from out of somewhere. It comes from all of us. If we are dedicated, things will happen in that way. So the fourth lesson is discipline. What was the number one? Belief system. Number two, decision making. Number three, look back and you are dead. Number four, discipline and the importance of time. You have to understand that. There are few more. Now, why is it important to work now? Because time once gone, it doesn't come back. They say you are young only once, and if you get it right, once is enough. That's what Swami Vivekananda said. You will only be young ek baar. Lekin, if you can make that one time right, then you're done your job. You're done your bit. You have to understand that we have to start being good managers of our time. Time management is one of the most underrated and yet most effective thing that can create wonders out of nowhere. We cannot leave ourselves to the pity of situations. We cannot leave ourselves to fate. Fate is our next point. But before that, about time, there is a Urdu proverb which says that वक्त बर्बाद करने वालों को वक्त बर्बाद करके छोड़ेगा. वक्त बर्बाद करने वालों को वक्त बर्बाद करके छोड़ेगा, उसको हालात ही ना छोड़ेंगे जो खुद को हालातों पे छोड़ेगा. So you're not supposed to leave yourself on the circumstances. Circumstances will start playing with you if you leave yourself to them. So take charge and take control of your life, not just in studies, in everything. If you develop the kind of mindset that is required, then again I tell you, civil services is going to be a cakewalk for you. Because difficult it is not to prepare, difficult it is to fight every day. Fight every day you are fighting with yourself. And if you make it a part of your routine, your entire mind and your body is trained and made in such a way that you think like a leader, you think like a champion, you think like a lion, then things will become easy. And let me tell you, things are actually easy. We complicate things. Coming to number 5. How many of you believe in luck, kismat, fate? Many of you. Okay. If I were to ask what is the spelling of luck, how do you spell it? Louder, everybody. L-U-C-K. Everybody? Yes? Louder, yes? No. I do not spell luck as L-U-C-K. It is spelled as W-O-R-K. Because once you actually realize there has never been one individual in the history of human civilization who got lucky without work. He had at least to take one step to be lucky. If you want to win a lottery, at least you have to get up and fill up the lottery. So from today I want you to change your definition of luck. Create your own story. Be your own luck. Let hard work be your luck. So the number 5 lesson is, discipline also includes taking charge of the situation. For example, I did not clear the prelims in the first attempt. Despite clearing the GS cutoff by 5 to 6 marks, I did not clear the CSAT cutoff by 0.8 marks. Now can I call it luck? No, I did not practice. I did not practice it enough. In fact, I did not even practice much. So that was the outcome of my efforts. So don't call it luck. One, it is the outcome of our efforts. Everything is an outcome of something. You can take it other way also, but if you want to be effective in life, you have to own everything. Own your mistakes, rectify your mistakes, identify what went wrong. As I told you, I did not make it because I did not practice much. Simple as that. Had I been of the viewpoint that I got unlucky, I missed it by 0.8 marks. That is no justification. But if I have that mindset that I got unlucky, then I may not even work again. Okay. And there are people who will say that that particular individual was lucky. By saying that somebody is lucky, you are undermining his hard work. Now just giving you a very real life example which we generally see. For example, once we are traveling, even in Delhi, we see a lot of beggars. There are people who are absolutely fit, who have their both arms and legs intact, but they are begging, right? On the other side, there are people who have lost their hands and legs, but they are working somewhere. They are trying to create a meaningful life out of them. There are people who have been amputee and they are representing the country in the Olympics. It is my personal opinion. Nothing, you can take your own call. But I believe that once we do that, once we start giving money to beggars, especially the ones who are absolutely right, we are undermining somebody's hard work. This is totally my personal thought process. We cannot call somebody else lucky. He has chosen to be that way. A person who is in a bad shape than him, he has risen above the limitations. How many of you know about Sheetal Devi? Who is Sheetal Devi? Yes, she has won a gold medal. She comes from Jammu Kashmir in a remote area called Kishtwar. She is not having both the arms. And she has won Olympic gold medal in archery with legs. Can you imagine that? A person standing on one leg and showing so much of flexibility and using the other leg to hold the arrow and fire. We may not be able to do it with both the legs and both the arms. Can we call her lucky? It is all hard work. So from today, change your vocabulary. Paper में नहीं लिख के आना है luck के spelling WRK. It is about understanding it. How many of you still want luck in life? If you think that luck has a role to play, even if it is not in our hands. But I'll still give you a way out in which you can get at least a little bit lucky. If you even want 1% of luck in your life, start respecting your parents, start respecting your teachers from the bottom of your heart. This I am telling you purely from my own personal experiences. If I am where I am today, it is all because of the wishes and the blessings of my teachers and my parents. It has nothing to do with me. I may have worked hard, I may have a particular mindset, but that mindset also comes from them. All my teachers, all my elders and parents. So be thankful, and thankful not just to seek the luck part. Thankful to actually make sure that you respect them from the bottom of your heart. Clear, everybody? So these are 5 to 6 lessons which I want all of you to keep with yourself. Let's revise it again. Number 1 is belief system. Number 2, decision making. Number 3, there's no turning back. Number 4, number 5, luck. Number 6 is, number 5 is, luck is spelled as WRK. That means work hard. And number 6 is, get lucky by, there is a offer, Diwali bumper. Get lucky by respecting your parents and teachers. Clear, everybody? Now we'll take some of your questions, because we are not till now spoken about UPSC preparation. Now I will answer all the questions that you have regarding your preparation. I did not discuss it because I thought it would be better if we talk about these things through your questions. So now ask your questions and I'll try to answer them. Anything from prelims, mains, anything that comes to your mind, not just UPSC. About life, if you feel there are things that you want to discuss, we can discuss. Yes, please. Same thing, I told you, for me it has never been about doing something for myself. As I told you, college time se, I was not clear what to do, but I was clear that I want to serve my country. And in fact, I missed that part of the story. And in fact, nobody asked me that how I ended up from army to the civil services. So 2015 when I got commissioned, I was posted to Assam, from there to Madhya Pradesh in Mau, then Amritsar, Jodhpur and Srinagar, Kashmir. So in 2017, in one of the training events in Madhya Pradesh, I got an injury where I suffered an injury in my spine and my ankle. It is still there. That was the last time I ran, in fact. It's been 7-8 years I have not been running. In fact, I told you I've been a sports person all my life. So it's been 7-8 years I have not been playing also. So 2017 to 19 was the time when things were a little tough. I won't say that I was sad, but things were a little tough. I had problems running, as I told you, I couldn't walk properly. Even in the office, I used to sit with some kind of support. So I started having this feeling that I may not be able to contribute that effectively while being in the army, given the limitations of my injury. So 19, I started my preparation while I was in Amritsar, and from there I went to Jodhpur and then to Kashmir. So I kept traveling all this time. So 19 I decided. Now there are two ways of looking at it. There is nothing, I have told you many lessons today, and let me tell you, there is nothing which I do not personally believe in. If I tell you don't look at as problems, it is because I have seen them. I have experienced that in life. I never questioned God that why did I get injured. Even today I feel a lot of pain. I am supposed to undergo a training in next 3 months, where again I will be required to do a lot of physical activity. But that's okay, because once you make your brain wired in such a way, it will withstand anything. So I never questioned God that why did I get injured. In fact, I thanked God that you gave me an opportunity, because had that not happened, I was a permanent commissioned officer with minimum terms of service 20 years. So 20 years se pehle I could not have left the army. But God intervened, injury intervened, or whatever happened. So I am here today because of that injury. Otherwise you would not have, or we would not have interacted today. So you create opportunities out of your situations. So I used that too. And in fact, for me the problem was not whether or not I will be able to clear civil services. And I never thought about this question actually, if I tell you. I never questioned, or I never thought कि नहीं होगा तो क्या होगा. For me the challenge only was, will the army leave me or not? Because as I told you, the permanent commissioned officers, the terms of service is 20 years. 20 साल से पहले वो नहीं छोड़ते हैं. But I have always believed that if you have purity of intentions, अगर आपकी नीयत साफ है, then the universe will always be there with you. So I left everything to the universe and started working. 21 में I filled up the form, and also I applied for the voluntary retirement from the army. So 19 से तैयारी करके 21 तक I was in the army. Even till my second attempt I was in the army only. So 21 I gave my attempt, I could not clear, and then 22 the day prelims results came. After a week I was informed that my application has also been accepted. Now in 3 to 4 months I will be out of the army, and here I am not yet selected. But that never came to me as a burden or a pressure. I never thought of it that way, because one thing was sure, that whether or not I make it to the civil services, I will do something good for the country. That was the thought process. So I gave it, then I got the railway service that year, and then improved upon and got the police service. So that is the part I missed. So what question was that? यही चीज है कि मैं जो कर रहा हूं देश के लिए कर रहा हूं. If you have that mindset, even while you are traveling, even while you are walking, even while you are studying, you have this thought process, I am studying because I want it for my country. So you will never be faltering on that. अपने लिए पढ़ना and देश के लिए पढ़ना. The thought process changes. Clear? Yes, next please. Definitely, it is not that we have to forget nationalism for internationalism. Nationalism is a separate concept, but we do not have to keep it in contradiction to internationalism. We can focus on a country and we can still take other countries along. It is like that. Right now the main requirement is first to make sure the problems which we are facing. We have one of the largest population of poor people in India who are below poverty line. So first let us get that in order. Simultaneously, yes, we need to have good relations with people, that we are already having. In fact, the Indian thought process and culture is based on the idea of the entire world is one family, Vasudev Kutumbakam. So that is already there. But as civil servants, if you go to foreign service, yes, you get to do that. But if you get to work internally, let's try to make a difference. Have that mindset that you will create the difference, and you will. A lot of people say that, sir, it is too idealistic. But if we become too realistic, then who will become idealistic and create that better future for our country? Okay? Yes, next please. Every skill, not just communication. It also applies to the answer writing. everything that you consider as a skill, you improve upon that with practice. There is a book, I am forgetting the name of the book. It says that if you practice something for 10,000 hours, then you become an expert at that. So today, if you're finding that I am speaking confidently, it is because I started in class 6th and never got down from the stage after that. In fact, in the last one and a half year, post I got selected to the railways, I have traveled across the country talking to students, talking to universities as far as Kashmir, Guwahati, South, Delhi, everywhere. So it is a matter of practice. As students, if some of you are in college, anybody in the college here? How many years left in the college? 1 year. So use this 1 year to grasp every opportunity to get on the stage. Let your friends question you, make fun of you. Tomorrow they will be made fun of and you will be on the stage as a chief guest and they will be calling you. There's no shame in working on yourself. I am a product of convent school, but there were other students who are the product of convent school with me. Not everybody is confident coming on the stage. It is all a matter of practice. So as students, what you can do, as I told you, for the ones who are still in college, use every opportunity to be on the stage. Secondly, for those of you who are not in the college now, you are passed out, every day practice for 15 minutes to half an hour in a way as if you are working for a news channel. Even if you are reading newspaper, even if you are reading history, even if you are reading polity, practice loud communication. अपने आप को room पे बंद करो and half an hour just read it loudly as if you are reading for the country on the news channel. The more you practice, the better you get at it. It is all a matter of practice. And start loving this process of improvement. Try to become the best communicator in the world. Second best. Best will be me. Okay? Okay. Next questions, please. No questions? Yes, please. Assessors are not looking for anything specifically for the foreign services. They test you that do you have a mindset of an officer. The interview, if you want to go in the foreign services, they will definitely ask you a few questions about the foreign affairs. But generally the personality test is about honesty, is about the personality test starts immediately the moment you open up the door and say, may I come in? That sets the tone. You can very nervously also say, sir, may I come in? Or very confidently with a straight face and cordially say, good morning, sir, may I come in? There's a difference. Then you seek permission to sit. That 2 to 3 second gap once you are not sitting. How you are standing? Are you nervous? Are you shaking? That also matters. Then you sit down, you wish them, and then the conversation starts. Now, first thing and the most important thing is you have to be honest in the interview. Because somebody with an experience of 40 years and 50 years in public service, he will take 1 second to identify where you are bluffing. So, honesty cannot be compromised. Then, for those of you who are appearing in 27 and beyond, have this habit of reading newspapers. जो 26 में दे रहे हैं, read newspaper at least till the end of the year. Newspaper reading is something that will help you in personality test, in your essay, in your ethics, in your overall personality, in your writing skills. So don't compromise. Notes नहीं बनाने हैं उसके current affairs से. It takes a lot of time. But read newspaper every day. That is a non-negotiable. I started reading newspaper, I think, class 5th or 6th. I read it till the end of the college. Then I joined the army and somehow I left that good habit of mine. I am yet to pick it up again. Clear? Got the answer? Okay. थोड़ा नीचे करिए क्या सवाल है? Vishwas, my attempt next year, but I don't start my preparation. How to complete my UPSC syllabus? So we'll come to that. नीचे करिए. Muskan का. I am from Mumbai. Despite working hard daily, sir, still not able to achieve daily targets, and often it continues till weeks. Then how? देखिए सबसे पहले the most important thing while you set your daily targets is make realistic targets. You cannot make a target that you are reading polity for the first time and you make a target that in 2 days I will finish polity. That can happen once you have read it 10 times. Now if you ask me, I will read polity in 2.5 days. But for that, you need to have read it for 10 times. So first thing is make realistic targets. Secondly, once we talk about consistency, it is not about 12 hours, 15 hours every day. That is not going to be humanly possible for long term. कुछ दिन शायद आप पढ़ लोगे, but on an average the consistency would mean 8 to 10 hours. Going beyond that is not good for your health in the long term. कुछ दिन, yes, definitely. Let's say once you are running short in terms of coverage of your syllabus, you can read for 10 also, 15 also sometimes. But that is not going to be sustainable in the long term. 15 days, 20 days, 1 month. More than that, it's not going to be possible. We want people who are fit also. You want to go to the exam hall, not to the hospital before the mains. Okay? So just keep working on that. Parul from Jammu Kashmir, target is 27. Optional decide nahi hua. I have question regarding dealing with negative thoughts. Sometimes we develop inferiority complex. Unintentionally compare, then this makes us doubt on strengths, holds us back and create fear. नीचे कीजिए थोड़ा. How can we effectively deal with such negative thoughts and overcome this type of comparison trap? So question is very simple, though it's a long one, but the question ka crux is that how to overcome negative sentiments and how to stop comparing yourself with others. Why do you want to compare yourself with others? Number one, understand that, as I told you in the beginning of the talk, I told you your competition is not with those 10 lakh people. Your competition is with the person जिसको आपको सुबह उठाना है 6 बजे. Your competition is with the person who you are looking at once you look in the mirror. So once everybody else is not your competition, so why are you going to compare yourself with that? Number one. Number two, always remember that comparison is a thief of your joy. You may have the best things in the world. You may have the best home, the best family, the best life partner, the best job. You see somebody else having one extra thing and you lose value for all this. So don't compare ever, not just for this examination preparation, in life. Never ever compare yourself with anybody, good or bad. You can learn and take inspiration from people who are doing good in life, but never compare. Because if you see somebody at a specific stage, for example, today if you compare yourself with somebody who is a billionaire, let's say you compare yourself with Bill Gates. He has taken some finite time, 20, 30, 40 years to reach there. Your time will come. You cannot be Bill Gates overnight. So don't compare and ruin your peace of mind. If you see somebody who is a civil servant today, he was once an aspirant. So don't compare yourself that why you are not there still. You have just started the preparation. Even once you become, then you start comparing the services, that he has got that service and I got this service. Even if you get the same service, then you start comparing and complain about cadres. I did not get my home cadre, he got his home cadre. And you may be in your same cadre. For example, somebody gets, let's say, Maharashtra cadre. 2 people. One of them from Maharashtra, another not from Maharashtra. And the other one can complain that he is in the home cadre, I am not. So comparison and complaining are never going to fetch you anything fruitful. So just focus on yourself, focus on the things you can improve in yourself and in the system, and that's all that is required. Never ever compare yourself with anybody. Okay. From Chennai, Tamil Nadu, we have Vasuki. I am not facing that much difficulty in mains, but prelims is quite hard. I do not know how to attempt the statement question. Sometimes the words is confusing. Now Vasuki, for this, the question is she is finding trouble in prelims. So prelims, number one thing is be very sure about your revisions. The main problem with students is lot of material and lesser number of revisions. Restrict your material to one source per subject and then revise it 10 times. The problem is, first they will have standard books, then they will have coaching notes, then they will have classroom notes, and then their table will be filled up with all these, and they do not know what to pick. I never read anything more than the 11 books of UPSC, or 10 books I would say. for the prelims. There are only 10 books. And 10 books, how many of you feel that UPSC का syllabus बहुत ज़्यादा है? How many? बहुत कम वाले? How many? बहुत ज़्यादा भी नहीं है, कम भी नहीं है. Which category are you in? It is moderate and it is okay. If we talk about history, we have modern, spectrum, ancient, R.S. Sharma, medieval, Satish Chandra. Only three books. Polity, we are talking about prelims. Lakshmikant. Geography, 2 NCRTs, 11th and 12th, and let's say one extra book, G.C. Leong. Environment, Shankar IAS. Economy, I have read Ramesh Singh. Few people read Nitin Singhania. What is left? Art and culture, Nitin Singhania. Any other subject we are left with? Prelims. Any subject? Science and tech, you need a book? Or it is current affairs? Generally current affairs. So these are only 10 books. So why and how is the syllabus more? In your semesters, in your college, you are reading 10 to 15 books every 6 months. Now here you are required to read those 10 books over a period of 2 years. The problem is we will make these 10 books into 20 and 20 into 30, and then we are confused which one to take. Stick to one source. If you want to read your notes, read that. Compare once with the book so that no topic is missing. Then close the book and read from your notes. If you are reading from the book, compare with your notes. Any additional thing, take it out, add in the book and read from the book. The problem is too many sources of the same thing and then we don't revise. On the other hand, the secret is one book, multiple revisions. If I tell you about 10 books, how much time do you require to read these 10 books? If you are reading on your own, I will give you an example. Let's say we talk about modern history first. Modern history spectrum, we have about 700 pages. Let's say you are not doing anything else but you are only reading GS. Okay? How many pages will you be able to read in one day? In let's say 5 hours. स्पेक्ट्रम की किताब पढ़ी है किसी ने? कितना समय लगता है? छोटी सी किताब है. 1 hour you will be easily able to, first time भी read कर रहे हैं, 20-30 pages you will be easily able to read. Let's say 20. 20 is a very understatement. Sometimes once you revise, अभी अगर आप मेरे को बोलोगे, I'll read 102 hours. ठीक है? So let's say for starting, if you are doing it, you read 20 pages in 1 hour. In 5 hours you will be reading 100 pages. You study only for 5 hours. In 7 days you will finish your modern history. Then you start with your ancient. Ancient is about 300 pages. Same thing. You read 50 pages only, not even 100. You read 50 pages. 5 days you are able to, or 6 days you are able to do that. So every book you will be able to read in 7 to 10 days. So that way, on maximum, because there are books which will take 2 days also. But still, if you want to take 10 days, 10 books, 100 days. So 3 months you are able to cover your entire GS syllabus. That's also on a higher side. For example, if you start reading geography, which is hardly 100 pages. So even if you read 20 pages every day, just 20, still in 5 days you will be able to cover that. So understand that the things are not complex, we are making it complex. Clear? So we have a question from Kanika. Target year is 26, optional is philosophy, defense background. To live in different parts of the country, I have originally belonged to Uttar Pradesh. My query is regarding the mains answer writing. Should we follow some model answers or write just one answer each day to cover topics slowly in the better way? So Kanika, if you are appearing, for those of you जो 26 में appear कर रहे हैं, and for those of you who are appearing in next years, kindly understand the timelines. If you want to clear the exam, the timelines should be like this. For example, for those of you appearing for 26, your entire mains syllabus, your reading, your notes along with your optional should be ready by October of this year. If you are appearing next year, for example, appearing 27, then October of 2026. Now let's say you are done with your note making and first or second revision by October. November and December you will use specifically for 2 more revisions and full length answer writing. Full length means complete tests, 20 questions. And from now till let's say October end, you write 2 questions every day. Answer writing, as we spoke about communication, as we spoke about marathon, answer writing is also a skill. For beginning, don't do anything, just write. Don't compare, don't do anything, just get into the habit of writing for the first 7 days to 10 days or 15 days. After 15 days, you can do one thing, download toppers answer copies. Every toppers answer copy will have 20 questions. Take 2 questions from there and write answers on that. Don't read the answers at this stage. Questions from toppers answer copy, note kariye, and then with the time limit, write the answers. Once you have written the answers, then you go on to the toppers answers and read and compare your answers with the topper. So that is the best evaluation. Nobody will be able to give you that evaluation, because you are yourself learning while you are checking your answer copy. Other people will give you feedback, but the thing that you learn on your own by comparing with the toppers answer copy, the ones which have fetched them marks, so that is the best evaluation that you can do. So that you can start even today. Even if you are appearing for 27, still write 2 questions every day. Just 2. 2 means 15 minutes or at max 20 minutes. Just do this much. If you do this much, you are good to go. थोड़ा नीचे करेगा. ये हो गया इसके नीचे वाला. Yeah. Just let me read this one. थोड़ा ऊपर करना हल्का सा. Yeah. I'm just beginning my preparation, and though I feel I may have started a bit late. Earlier I was stuck in my comfort zone, but now I truly want to break free at any cost and prove myself. UPS has always been on my mind, but the comfort zone has held me back. I am only having 3 attempts left, and I am a working professional. Could you please guide me on how the plan should look like in brief? Okay, so Chadu, I got your point. Number 1 is comfort zone is not your friend, it is your enemy. As he is himself admitting, he was in the comfort zone, so not very sure about karna chahiye ki nahi karna chahiye. Now since he is a working professional, so work for all of you, it is a lesson. Now what happens is, once you get some job, any job, you become a little comfortable in terms, because you are working, you are getting some kind of salary, so you start getting independent. So once you reach that stage, then it requires even a higher degree of discipline and time management. Right now you are all preparing full length, full time. It is the best time to clear civil services. Now coming back to the last 3 attempts, अगर आपकी बची हैं, तो आपके लिए एक चीज रियलाइज करनी है कि one attempt which is good enough is more than sufficient. So if you have, let's say 2026 का देना है अगर आपको, so the approach is very clear. The timelines are like this. Same जो मैंने अभी बताया, अक्टूबर तक आपका मेंस रेडी होना चाहिए. In case that is not going to happen, do it by November. अगर अभी you are running behind, then December complete and 15 days of January, you focus entirely on the answer writing thing. And once that is done, let's say 15th of January till the end of May, जब भी आपका एग्जाम है, till that day focus entirely on the prelims, where you are revising the static subjects at least 5 to 6 times, current affairs from 6 to 8 to 10 times, and writing a lot of practice tests, mock tests. That is the simplest strategy that you can have. Okay, you had a question? ओके, तो इनके सवाल के मल्टीपल डायमेंशंस हैं. एक इनका सवाल ये है कि once we go to the services, we see that there is a lot of political influence. We may not be sometimes able to take independent decisions. तो क्या हमें सिविल सर्वेंट बनना चाहिए, आईएएस बनना चाहिए, ये जानते हुए कि ग्राउंड पे हम रियलिटी चेंज कर ही नहीं पाएंगे? नंबर वन. नंबर टू, इनका सवाल है कि क्या हम एक्चुअली यूथ का माइंडसेट चेंज कर सकते हैं और क्या हम अपने देश को बदल सकते हैं? फर्स्ट आई टेक ए फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन. Now, number one thing is realize that once you are in service, and if you have a mindset that we discussed, and let's say you are in a state in which all civil servants have the same mindset, what option do politicians have? At max, what they can do, they can transfer you and get somebody else, but they replace you and they find somebody who is even stubborn than you. If you have mindset which I have, and all of us have the mindset which I have, or which we have, or which we are required to have, do you think that we will bow down to the wrong demands of somebody? We will not bow down, number one. Number two, you have to understand that even normally nobody will stop you from doing the right things. The problem is not that suppose you want to do some benefit for the girl child, nobody is going to stop you from doing that. Problem is not that. Problem is somebody might ask you something else in some other domain to do something illegal. That's a different thing. But nobody will take chance once you are doing a good job. For example, you are setting up a school. Nobody will stop you from doing that. Nobody will have the courage to do that. The problem is not the right thing. The problem is people get involved into the wrong things, because of which they forget about the right things. Okay? So you definitely, even in the present setup, there are a lot of people who are doing such a wonderful job. जब आप ethics पढ़ेंगे, you will read a lot of case studies, lot of examples where civil servants are actually bringing the change. It is not that the picture is entirely dark, picture is bright also. But maybe that number of people with that mindset have to be increased. Now your second question, whether or not we will be able to change the mindset of the youth and whether or not we will be able to change the situation of the country. Number one, youth का mindset change हो सकता है कि नहीं होता? You tell me now. If we start training ourselves on the things that we have discussed in the way that we have discussed today, do you think that in 5 years time we will be an asset for the country? अगर आपका जहन जो है, has it been impacted even 1% today? If आपका हो सकता है तो बाकियों का भी हो सकता है. First question is answered. Number two, क्या हम इस माइंडसेट को लेके देश बदल सकते हैं? क्यों नहीं बदल सकते? अगर नेपाल के थोड़े से यूथ इन अ नेगेटिव वे ऑल्सो, इफ दे कैन डू दैट मच, तो हम पॉजिटिव वे में क्या कुछ नहीं कर सकते? द पॉइंट इज, everybody thinks that the system is too large to be changed. Corruption is too deep to be removed. But one thing that we forget and the people forget is, system may be huge, corruption may be deep, but the love for the country runs deeper than corruption. If we can arouse that kind of love and make people understand that corruption is something which is against the country, then you will remove it. I was having a discussion with one of my friends, one of my juniors from the army yesterday only. So he had gone to Saudi Arabia for Hajj Yatra. So he was explaining that how good the system is, how respectfully people look at laws and how they follow the laws. There are two reasons. One is the respect and the other is the fear. So we have to create both. Things will happen. Here the point is, the powerful knows that because of the power they will escape. Civil services is power. Let's say, let me give you a very small example. Let's say we have a state, a very small state like let's say Goa. If the entire Goa police decides that we will not let anything wrong happen, just the police department, can they not set the system in place there? What can the politicians do? They'll transfer one police person to the other gets replaced by equally talented and equally passionate person. And wherever wrong is happening, they are showing the courage to do what is required to be done. So we need to create enough people with, first of all, who have the risk bearing capacity, because it is not going to come without risks. But if we do not take risks for our country, then I think this life is useless, as per me. ठीक है, नीचे करिएगा. Any questions this side? Yes. देखो, CSAT is more of a mind game rather than actual preparation, which gets you halted there. Now I'll just do a little bit of analysis about CSAT, and we will come to know that why is it that many people are not clearing it. It is not tough, it is tricky. In what way? I'll explain. Total there are 80 questions in CSAT. Out of the 80, let us assume that we have 30 questions from reading comprehension. Okay, even if you are good with English, reading comprehension on a lower side, how many can I expect you to get? How many questions right if you attempt 30? Let's say on the lower side 22, you get 8 questions wrong, because 30 it will never come. Ideally agar 30 ho jaye to you clear the CSAT from here only, but that is not happening because there are a few questions which are interpretation based. My interpretation can vary and yours can vary, that is okay. So let's say you get 22 right from 30, 22 right, 8 wrong answers. Now you are left with 50 more questions which has maths and reasoning. Now the tricky part is, let me ask you all, if you are given the responsibility of making a CSAT question paper in which you have to decide out of these 50 questions, knowing the background of students in India, rural background, people from northeast, people from Jammu, people from hilly areas, people from English background, people with maths background, non-maths background, what will be the distribution of these 50 questions? How many you think will be easy, how many will be mid-level, and how many will be difficult? You tell me. अगर आपको एग्जाम सेट करने का रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी दिया जाए, so what would be the distribution? Louder. 30. There are total 50 only. Let's say 15 questions very tough, 15 questions very easy or easy if not very easy, and 20 questions moderate. It can be 5 and plus minus 5 anywhere. Let's go with this one, 15, 15 and 20. In CSAT, once we will do preparation, definitely we will practice all topics and go. Now the problem comes because once we are sitting in the exam hall, let's say there is a question on percentages. We read the question and we know that it is a question of percentages, but UPSC makes it so tricky, it will add some complexity to it that we will not be able to solve it in, let's say, 10 to 15 minutes also sometimes. And what we do, we get stuck up in these questions. For example, you start with maths. Your first question you encounter is from the tough part. You thought that you had practiced CSAT and you had practiced percentage, so you took it on your ego that I will solve this question. It costed you 10 minutes, and after 10 minutes it's not sure that that is right or wrong. So you encounter 3 such questions and you try to solve all these 3 or 4 questions. So you will realize that you have wasted half an hour and you have only done 2 questions, right? So then it starts playing on your anxiety, on your nervousness, on your mental thing. On the contrary, what our approach should be, to identify these 15 tough questions as soon as possible. Let's say if you follow a strategy where what we do is, we try to solve a question in 1 minute. If we feel that we will be able to solve it in next 1 minute, continue, else skip that question and move on. This is the biggest challenge. The ability to leave a question is the biggest hindrance in clearing the CSAT. Now let's say that you are able to solve or you are able to identify these 15 questions in 15 minutes, not collectively but in isolation, combined 15 minutes. So your 15 minutes are gone, you have not done any question, but you have identified these 15 questions are difficult. So let's say you take 1 hour for reading comprehension or 55 minutes for reading comprehension. You are still left with 50 minutes, 50. In these 50 minutes, you are required to attempt 35 questions which are of mid-level and easy level. In these 50 minutes, can I expect you to solve 25 questions, out of which let's say 15 are easy and 10 are mid-level? If you do that, let's say 25 questions, and you generally, if you are solving something in maths, it will be correct. But let's say there also you make some mistakes, and out of 25, you only get how many right? Let's say 17. You get 7 wrong here also. So what is the combined total? You attempted 55 questions, 30 from reading comprehension and 25 from maths and reasoning. So from these 55, how many have you got wrong? 8 plus 7, 15. So from 55, you have 40 right answers and 15 wrong. Now this number can go, you can even increase the number of wrong answers. For example, let's say you have 20 wrong answers and 35 correct answers. What is the number that you get? Kindly check it on the mobile calculator. 35 into 2.5 minus 20 into 0.833. 35 into 2.5 minus 20 into 0.833. What is the outcome? 74. 70.8. It means you have a scope for getting one more wrong answer. Means 34 and 21 also. With that combination also you will still make it. So the fight is to get around 35 to 40 questions right. That's it. And for that you need to attempt 50-55. And that you will only be able to attempt once you are able to understand this is a tough question, leave it as soon as possible. Not even 1 minute, leave it in 30 seconds. So that you increase the possibility. It happened with me in 21. I kept fighting with the wrong questions, and after the exam when I came, there were questions which I would solve in 5 seconds. Series based questions, simple questions, 5 seconds, 10 seconds. I could not even reach till there. So CSAT is not complex. Our ego is. So the secret of CSAT, other than the rest of the things, practice आपको करना ही है, but the ability to leave a question as soon as possible is what will help you. Clear? Okay. नीचे करिएगा. Okay, Akshit has a question. Akshit, target year 26. I try to follow my daily routine and does that like for 2-3 weeks. Keep myself highly motivated. But after some time, due to certain circumstances, get derailed and then creates a lot of self-doubt and every backlog. I try to do the best on a daily basis. नीचे करिए थोड़ा. तो इनका वही problem है that we have already discussed, that for 2-3 weeks, 1 month we study and then we get derailed. Now, first thing that you need to realize is that is okay. If you have to prepare for running 42 kilometers next year, it is quite possible that you run every day for 10 days, 15 days, and then you take a break of a week also. That's okay. Don't get disheartened just because you did not study for, let's say, एक महीने में for 4 days or 5 days also. Because as I told you, consistency never means 365 days into 15 hours. Even if you have read 8 hours to 9 hours for 300 days, only 300 days, that is still consistency. It means you have studied for 300 days and 65 days you have taken off. 65 days off means round about 5 point some days off every month. So हर हफ्ते you are taking off or combined you are taking 1 week off, that is okay. So don't get disheartened just because you are not able to study for 1 day, 2 days or for some days. Number 1. Number 2, once this happens that you study and then you get off track, there is a very simple process which I think can help you, provided you have some degree of self-respect. You have self-respect, all of you? How strong? Understand the difference between self-respect and ego? Okay. Now self-respect, why? Because first thing is you have to understand that you are here because you want to be here. आप तैयारी कर रहे हैं because you want to prepare for civil services. It is not somebody else who has told you to be here. Number one, it is your decision. Who is supposed to back your decisions? You have to. Okay. Now every day, before you sleep, ask yourself two questions. Very simple two questions. Number one is very, very simple. That is, what is the goal of your life? What is the aim of your life? At least as of now. Most of you have the aim of becoming a civil servant, right? So number one question is very easy. Number two would require your honesty. And that question is, if you want to become a civil servant, right from today morning till this point at night, the things that I have done, have they contributed in any way in taking me to my dreams? If the answer is yes, pat yourself on the back and sleep with a smile on your face. But if you are honest, many days will be there when it will not be. You set a target, but for some reasons you do not achieve it. Now here the first thing is, you need to be honest कि आज नहीं हुआ है. I have not been able to do it today. If that be the case, sleep with the commitment that today I did not do it, but tomorrow I will not repeat my mistakes. Tomorrow I will study 2 extra hours to overcome or to make up for the loss of time today. Now here is the concept of self-respect. अगर आप थोड़ा सा अपने लिए self respect रखने वाले इंसान है, if you have some kind of self respect, then you will not repeat the mistake tomorrow. Or at least if you are talking, there will be times when you get stuck up in situations. For example, there are some events happening at home, or you have to travel for some exams, or you get health issues. That is okay. On those days it is okay to take a time off. But on normal days, for example, the day one, once you feel that today you have not been consistent, today you have broken the chain of consistency, you will sleep at night, do this exercise without miss. Don't forget to speak to yourself. Once you speak to yourself, automatically day one itself you will know that today was not a good day. Let's say you studied for 21 days consecutively, on 22nd day you faltered, but at night you had this conversation. You are having it every day for 21 days. 22nd day you had this conversation and the answer is negative. So 22nd day, sleep with a commitment and ask yourself same question once you get up in the morning next day. So once you do this, and if you have a little bit of self-respect, you will not let it be repeated. That is why self-respect is important. अगर गैरत है ही नहीं, फिर आज हुआ है कल देख लेंगे, कल हुआ परसों देख लेंगे, वो चलता रहे. That is never going to help you. Yes. The comeback will start with one day. It will not be once. For example, it has been a month. For example, let's say that today that month has been completed, where you have been totally like a ticking time bomb, as you say. Today, once you have that conversation before you sleep at night, today decide that I will change the trajectory of the next month. And once you have to change the trajectory of next 1 month, you don't have to think about next 1 month. You have to think about just tomorrow. And tomorrow also you have to think about just those 6 hours that you are trying to reach. And don't even target 6 hours. For beginning, just target 4 hours. Because it is a gradual process. You cannot, if you want to read 12 hours every day, you cannot ask a student who has not read for months even 1 hour, he cannot read 12 hours in one go. So start with small targets. So if until this point there has been a month of discontinuity, make it a start. Not even tomorrow, start it today. Once you go home, make it a target that before sleeping I will study at least 2 hours. That's it. So before you sleep, you will have that good feeling that today I decided 2 hours and I've done those 2 hours. So your brain will observe that something opposite has happened today. Repeat that tomorrow. Brain will be a little confused. Day 3, it will start getting the trend. Day 4, day 5, day 6, you become powerful. and by day 21 it becomes a part of your habits. Your brains and the cells start accepting that that old personality is now long dead. Never let it take birth again. The moment you feel that this personality is again taking birth, day 1 of this negativity, speak to yourself at night and correct the trend the next day. It cannot happen that if you are talking to yourself and are a little bit of passionate and self-respecting individual, it cannot go on till the day 2. Unless there is some kind of events that are happening in your life, that's okay. But things are normal, things are happening, but you are letting it happen, it means you have lost the degree of self-respect for yourself. So gain that self-respect back. Clear? Okay. Okay. So your first question is how to utilize the break. I personally feel that the break is a myth. Why it is a myth, I'll tell you. You need break for what reasons? So that you feel a little bit relaxed and a little bit back to yourself. I adopt a different philosophy in life. You need a break not after days, you need a break every day. That is why I tell you, don't target reading 12 hours, 15 hours. What will you do in a break? You'll go out and do something, be with friends. So on a daily basis, I believe that we should have time for everything. Let's say we study for 8 hours, okay? One of the reasons why this generation is tired, or not this generation, people in today's 21st century are tired is because of the deprivation of sleep, good quality sleep. And that has to do with the time also, that has to do with mobile also, that has to do with social media also. So the first thing of a good preparation, of a good mind, of a good body starts with healthy sleep. So that should be the number one priority, even before study. Let's say you sleep for 7 to 8 hours, 7 hours at least, uninterrupted. Ideally, you should be having the same sleep cycle as the exam, because personally I have felt once you are awake deep into the night, you may sleep even for 10 hours, but you get up tired. So if you want to remain healthy, because my thought process says that you have to maintain a balance of everything. So let's say you sleep at 12. Okay, you sleep at 12, you get up at 7, 7:30. It's a good enough sleep, 7, 7:30. It is much required also. So you sleep for 7.5 hours, and then you are still left with 16.5 hours. Let's say you study for 8 hours. That is what is required. I am not asking you to study for 12 hours. So 8 plus 8 makes it, or 7.5 makes it 15.5. You are still left with 8.5 hours. Let's say for the normal routine duties, bathing and all that, eating, you take 2.5 hours. 3 times plus your daily routine. So it is 2.5 hours. You are still left with 6 hours. Now what you do with these 6 hours is what defines the quality of your life. In these 6 hours, there should be some time for some kind of physical activity, which includes, you can, maybe some people prefer going gym, some people prefer yoga, some people going for a run, anything that you want. Some people play some kind of sport. So for 1.5 hour, at least 1 hour, you should do some kind of physical activity. 15 to 20 minutes every day, spare time to connect to yourself. Connect to yourself, sit in silence, away from mobile, away from all the noise that you mentioned, and just contemplate about life and contemplate about yourself. what is happening with you, what kind of life are you wanting, what kind of individual are you have. Just calm down, take some deep breaths. Breathing helps you a lot. 15 minutes, even if you don't have much time, in that 1 hour itself, 45 minutes of physical activity, 15 minutes of connecting to yourself. Just close your eyes and feel the silence. Sometimes have a conversation with yourself. Sometimes go to park and just walk alone. So if you keep a schedule like this, you are still left with 4.5 hours to 5 hours. Then little bit of that has to be with your parents, with your family, so that you feel connected. I told about victories every day. One is the victory of sleep. One is the victory of your academics, whatever you're studying. One is the physical victory. And then also you need a spiritual victory. Those 15 minutes is a spiritual victory for you. Then you need an emotional victory. Emotional victory is something like connecting to your parents, connecting to your friends and loved ones. You talk to them, you feel good and just feel connected. So you balance all these out. What happens is we are too busy running without thinking. We are going to classes, coming back, sleeping, scrolling on mobile unnecessarily long times. So start writing what you are doing with your time. And you can also use this time to pick up some kind of hobbies. Hobby doesn't mean that you have to practice it for 2 hours, 3 hours, even 10 minutes, 15 minutes. For example, I love writing poetry. So I will just sit for some time, feel a certain thing, 15-20 minutes I'll write a poem and then I'm done. So that makes you feel connected and makes you feel good. So if you are winning every day, then comes back to the same question. If you are winning every day, schedule wise also, and all these 5 things, physical victory, emotional, spiritual, academic victory, you're winning in life. So you are winning, the break is not required. It automatically on a daily basis you are at peace. And then if you want to go on a leave also, go for 4-5 days. Once you are in routine, you are calm, then you will be able to go out there and enjoy there also. As I told you, every month you can take 4-5 days off. Go there. Now don't go there with the aim of just going and coming back. Go there, stay for a couple of days wherever you want to travel. Stay there, feel the place, get connected to yourself. It is a daily process. You repeat this process every day. This question of break will never come. Because even in that break you will have a schedule. The real break will only come on the day of death, not before that. Yes. I will definitely, before the end of the session, I told you I'll read a poem for you. So I have been lucky, I never took any classes. But I was involved with my professional work. As I told you, I was in the army. So it is practical difficulty as long as you are having 8 to 10 hours of classes, coming to class at 8 o'clock, going back 8 o'clock, then practically you are left with nothing. So that is your call, that I cannot help you. I know it is hectic. So ideal case classes should be a little limited. Or if you want to take control of your life, there are some classes which you feel you can read on your own. Don't attend those classes. For example, if you ask me, there is nothing in history that somebody can teach you. It is my opinion. You may beg to differ because every individual is made to think in a different way. So if you can read it on your own, it saves time. Simple as that. You are the master of your time. What you do with it 24 hours is your call. Even if you have the schedule like 8 to 6 in the morning, 6 in the evening, still you can have some kind of productivity. For example, once you reach back home, immediately go for gym or immediately go for running. What that does is, once you sweat it out, the entire stress of the day is vanished. Come back, take a cold shower, ठंडे पानी से नहाओ, and then sit back 10-15 minutes with yourself, speak to your parents, and then get to that work. All it needs, for example, even if you reach by 6:30, by 8 o'clock this process will be done. So study from 8 till 12, sleep at 12, get up at 7 and come to the class. Things are very simple. You still have read 4 hours at night. You still will manage 1 hour in the call. Once you are here, there will be breaks in between the classes. Don't chit chat. Okay, or you can do one thing. What do you do in the breaks here? And so talk to people and talk productively. For example, you can have this habit that make a group, 5 to 6 people, and make it somebody's responsibility in rotation that you will discuss this topic tomorrow in a group. That will help you work on your communication skills, improve that every day, and plus you are getting to familiarize yourself with a topic of current affairs every day. So every 6 days you are getting back your turn. So you are learning also, you are improving upon your skills also. Surround yourself with like-minded individuals. Don't waste your time. Now understand, if we surround ourselves with good people, you have to understand who your friend is and who your friend is not. Not everybody who is here, I don't know, but not everybody who is around you is your friend. Okay. So anybody who is pushing you to be better is your friend. Anybody who is pulling you down in any way, is giving you negative energy, leave that immediately. It is your life, control it. And just imagine that every day you are discussing what kind of evolution will happen over the next 1 year. Every day you are discussing, every day. By the time the interview comes, you are ready to take the interview rather than giving the interview. It can happen. Up to you. Next question, please. Yes. For prelims, yes. You're not supposed to rectify anything. Just read, understand, PYQ analysis, and revise. That's it. जहाँ आपको लगता है गलत है. What kind of vague statements? I did not find any. I've read it more than 10, 15 times. See, some parts are philosophical in nature, some parts are concrete in nature. So relation between the two has to be understood. On ground things may or may not be there. America works on a different system, India works on a different system, though there is the racism in both, there also and here also. So you don't have to go to controversies anyway. You have to understand and make yourself equipped that once you are in the position and controversy comes, you are in the position to understand and handle that. Don't waste time in the controversies and finding out flaws. Find your own flaws and work on them. That is the best thing that we can do. Yes. For mains, there is no specific book list. ये जो मैंने आपको prelims की भी बताई, उसके बाद what you have to do, pick up the mains syllabus in detail. GS 1, 2, 3. Let's say GS 2. GS 2, 60% of the things are there in Lakshmikant for the mains. Remaining 40, what you have to do, refer to the syllabus. Each topic, just read that out, and the topics that you think are covered in Lakshmikant, don't mark that. Make a list of all those topics which you have not read. Now that list will be, let's say, 25 to 30 topics. And if you even prepare one topic every day, go to Google and prepare topics. Once you make notes, notes should not be more than 2 pages. That is also maximum. Ideally 1 page is enough, or 1.5 page, at max 2, not more than that. उतना ही लिखने को मिलेगा. ठीक है? So make a list of 25-30 topics in GS2 which are not covered and make notes out of that. Even if you don't want to make notes, go to Google, take some PDF, make soft notes and then take printout. Okay, copy paste, put things in, make notes. Other than this, the third part is IR. IR, if you have time, make notes, otherwise take any good compilation, any PDF, read from that. Because IR, there is not much about improvisation. Everything is plain. If what is happening between India and US, there are deals, there is history, there is present thing that is happening, you will read all that. There is nothing that you can do about it. So GS2. Similarly, GS3 syllabus is the reference. Or if GS3 requires a little bit more effort, so topic wise make a list, all those topics, start making notes. That is done. That is the best strategy. Now how it helps is, once this process is done, GS 1, 2, 3, GS1 if we see, majority of the things you have already done. History complete, Indian history you have read in the 3 books. Geography mostly you have read, other than 1 or 2 topics like distribution of key natural resources. And then you have society. World history and post independent, don't waste time making notes. read any compilation, at max one question comes. So why do you want to waste time? Take a 100-120 page compilation, read it 2-3 times, that's it. Sometimes world history is not even having questions. 22 there was no question, 23 there was no question. So why do you have to waste time? Read it so that you are able to attend that one question that's coming. Similarly GS3. Now once this exercise is done, what happens is you have one note for every topic. For example, GS2, you will have one Lakshmikant to read, one PDF of IR, and 40 to 50 page note of yours about the topics which are not in Lakshmikant. So that is your GS2 complete. So within 5 days you will be able to read this. Lakshmikant in 3 days, and let's say 1 day or 2 days for IR and another 2 days for that. So similarly GS3 you will have 1 or 2 book notes ready. Let's say 300 pages, 250 pages, not more than that. So you will be able to revise that in 3-4 days when the later revision comes. So things are simple. We complicate it by too many books and too many data. Okay. I think reading speed is a bit slow. What should I do? Read as much as possible. Read with focus. Even if it is slow, read it so many times that speed doesn't matter. I don't have any friend circle to discuss for the breaking time. I am just overthinking about the examination. So if you are overthinking, whenever, now this is a problem. Overthinking is a big problem, but it is a very futile problem. Overthinking is only because of one reason. What is that reason? Free time. Idle mind is a devil's workshop. So never keep yourself idle. How does that happen? The moment you think you are slipping into the vicious circle of overthinking, leave your chair, leave your bed and get up. Do something. Go for a run. If it is night, you cannot go out. Then let's say you start writing about your emotions, whatever you're feeling, start writing that. Speak to your parents, call them, speak to your friends, or if you're not willing to do any of these, put on a good positive music and start dancing. You'll get tired and you will sleep in some time. For all those people who say that they cannot sleep, make yourself so tired that it takes 1 minute to sleep. There are people, once we are in the academy, there are people who are sleeping while driving bicycles. Okay, there are people who, if you are traveling by metro, there are people who work so hard throughout the day, sometimes they are standing and sleeping in the metro. So don't complain that you don't have sleep. You are not working adequately. You are not tiring yourself adequately. If you are tired, it takes 5 minutes to sleep. But if you have been sleeping all day and then you say that I have not been able to sleep at night, that's a different thing. Okay. Any more questions? We are done with the questions. Very few questions this side. Why? I was in Kashmir last week. We had a lot of questions there. In Anantnag. Feel free to ask whatever you are having doubts, not related to academics also. We can discuss. We still have time. You don't have time? I have a lot of time, because when I talk to the young people of India, I consider that आज ही इनको बदल देना है सब. ठीक है? You can ask. We have still will wind up in 5 minutes. If you have no questions, it should not happen that your questions dry up because it is 2 o'clock. Okay? Your questions should continue as long as you have doubts. Yes.
Dedicatedly, interest automatically develops. So then what is next to choose your option?
See, that is also a right way to go about it, but for most part one thing is there are a few subjects इसमें उतना समय नहीं आपको waste करना है कि interest develop करने के लिए. It is, for example, I am an engineering graduate, but still I never liked coding, so I always used to run away from coding. I just passed somehow my semester exams. Now the first criteria will always be the interest factor, whether you already have it or whether you develop over time, because you have to consider optional like your food. You cannot eat something for long periods of time if you do not enjoy eating it. जैसे if I don't like karela cooked in a specific way, I cannot eat it every day. Okay, likewise optional का पहला factor has to be interest, but now interest is not the only factor, क्योंकि interest हो सकता है आपका 3-4 subjects में हो, Yes, if you ask me, my optional was philosophy, but I also like political science and international relations. I like public administration. I like some other subjects, sociology. So the second criteria after interest has to be the performance also. How that optional is performing over the last 5 years. That information is easily available on Google. Just refer to that and try to understand whether or not this optional will fetch you marks. Because यहाँ पे we are not here to do PhD in a particular subject. Our aim is to get good marks and get to this service as soon as possible. So second is the performance, and third is the availability of suitable reference materials or books. Are the books available in the market? Do you have a friend or a senior from your college or around, somebody who you know who can guide you in that subject, जिसने उस एग्जाम से उस सब्जेक्ट में पेपर क्लियर किया है, so that at least you know that you are doing the right things. So these are a few criteria for the option. ठीक है? Okay. Anybody else? Done with it? Should we wind it up? Okay. So it was a pleasure speaking to you. But just remember that I was not here to guide you for UPSC, though it is what I am told to do. But I never do that, because I believe we have a far greater responsibility. And if we understand that responsibility, then UPSC will be a cakewalk. Because if you have the passion and the fire to make sure that you are somewhere there where decisions are taken, you will not be sleeping at night until you have finished your targets of the day. Because you know that this is not about this examination. This is about what happens after this examination. That should be your motivation. People say, sir, how to stay motivated? You're not required to stay motivated. Have that hunger that you want to be there. You want to be in the power corridors where decisions are taken and where policies are implemented also. If you have that fire, civil services is nothing. You will never think about failure. But at max, what happens? At max, we do not make it to the civil services. But if we have equipped ourselves with that skill and with that mindset, we will go to 10 other places and create stories. And I want all of you to be the harbingers of change and the story. All of you are supposed to create a legacy, which we will celebrate, all of us together, in 2047, wherever we are. Okay? Stay connected with me and we will celebrate in 2047, all of us. This is the vision that I am trying to give to my countrymen, and I want you to be the pillars of this vision, because I cannot do it on my own. Today we are whatever number, 70, 80. Spread this idea to more. Your younger brothers, your cousins, your sisters, your friends. Initially they may laugh at you, but let them do. Irrespective of anything, we have to create the change that this country needs. We cannot keep complaining that so and so is bad and so is bad. They are bad, that's okay, but they are there because we are not there. For all of you who do not become civil servants, don't leave public life. Get to professions where you get to work for the public. Okay? So we will wind up, but not before. As I promised, I will read a poem for you which I wrote about the youth of India. It is titled as "You Are a Lion Who Is Born to Roar." So somebody told me some book or something in which you read it. I don't know, that must be a different book. So the poem is titled as "You Are a Lion Who Is Born to Roar." It is a long poem. I'm not going to read it completely. It is available on YouTube. You can go there and read if you want completely. This is just the last paragraph of that. It says that there will be problems in life. हमारे पास problems होंगी, there will be challenges, but we have to find that diamond which is hidden inside us. So it says that on the sands of time, don't you wait. On the sands of time, don't you wait. Let it rain, even if it is meant to pour. There will be adverse times. Let it rain, even if it is meant to pour. You are a diamond who is invincible to the core. However dark the night, रात लंबी हो सकती है, but सुबह आनी ही है. However dark the night, your infinite soul will take you to the shore. What if there are mountains in the oceans? Your story is the making of an epic lore. For you have the courage, and that too galore. Because, my friend, you are a lion who is born to roar, and you will roar and be hailed as the king of jungle. And to the youth of India, Jai Hind. तो चलिए, we will wind this up, but don't let this thing die with these four walls of this classroom. Okay, this has to go for the next 50 years at least. Be the warriors which this country needs. And if even one of you turns out to be a warrior, I will have a very peaceful and a satisfied death. Okay, so let's be in this together. Civil services will be a cakewalk. And this I say with conviction, because once that passion is like that, what was it that forced the freedom fighters to smile and give up their lives? That love for the country. Bhagat Singh and his comrades intentionally decided that they will go to prison. Who would like to go to prison? And against a foreign power, they decided, because their love for the country was far greater than their own discomfort. So once that becomes your priority, no amount of sleep deprivation, no amount of so-called what we call distractions will stop you, because the focus is always clear. Don't have to be motivated by the name of Lavasna or that Masuri building that we have. Our national flag is the biggest motivation for us. Have that, not even required to keep it on the walls. Keep it in your vision, keep it in your hearts. And the country will be grateful to all of us for what we do for the next 25-30 years. So train yourselves for that. Civil services is a part of the process, because we need educated young people, not the people belonging to the WhatsApp universities. Okay, we have to give way to genuine and true knowledge instead of the WhatsApp universities, and only you are the ones who are going to ensure it, whether be inside the system or outside the system. That is dependent upon your hard work. But wherever you go, it is also a reality that not all of you will go on to become civil servants. It is a reality. But the point is, wherever you go, whichever field, make sure that your country is the number one priority here. The Chetwood credo. So we end up here. Thank you. Jai Hind.